Hi, today I'll be talking about ePaper displays or e-ink displays. This particular display is a ePaper display which has the driver board by Waveshare. You can get this from gearbest.com or eBay or wherever you find it to be cheaper. Now, the ePaper display in this particular case is consistent of two parts. One is the display driver, which has the STM32, which is an ARM microcontroller board at the back, and it can read information from the micro SD card or stuff like that. In addition to that, you can send it some dedicated serial commands and it will display that buffer onto the ePaper display. Of course, you can build your own driver board for the ePaper display if you require. Now, why is the ePaper display so important? The reason is that, as you can see, I am not supplying any kind of power to it, yet there is some text written on it. That means that the information that has been supplied to the display stays on it unless it is refreshed. And this can be very useful when you are trying to build battery power devices with information that is not refreshed at a very high rate. For example, your television refreshes at about 50 hertz, whereas this thing has a maximum refresh rate of 1 frame per second, so that's 1 hertz, and that's pretty slow. But when you're trying to display, for example, information about the weather, well, it's not going to change over a couple of seconds, is it? So you'll be refreshing this for example at 15 seconds or 30 seconds or even 15 minutes in some cases to save battery power. Your microcontroller can go to sleep, your display can be disconnected from power. You can use a simple MOSFET circuit to actually cut off the power to this and really go in a low power mode, and your display module will actually be displaying the dashboard information that you require. In today's project, I'll be using the Waveshare 4.3-inch ePaper display supplied by gearbest.com, and I will be using this in conjunction with a microcontroller to create an Internet of Things applications, wherein I will be taking information from the internet and I'll be trying to display it on the ePaper display itself. Then we will design a case for this particular thing, as well as the microcontroller with the battery circuit and everything, and we'll put it in we'll print it out using a 3D printer, and we'll try to make a simple IoT dashboard project out of it. In order to display information on the ePaper display, I need a separate microcontroller, or I can try to hack into the microcontroller that is on the ePaper display itself. Now, that's a story project on a different side altogether. In this experiment, what I'll be doing is I'll be driving the ePaper display using the Texas Instruments CC3200 launchpad. Now, why? Well, it's been designed for low power. I have some energy booster packs which have battery packs on the back, and it has a fuel gauge and everything. So the electronics actually come with the ecosystem itself. And the CC3200 has Wi-Fi capability. It can connect to my local access point, and the more important reason is I'm going to try and use Energia to run the code, because Energia is very similar to Arduino, the language itself, and so I can probably use somebody else's code, hack it together and get it up and running really quickly as compared to some other microcontrollers. For example, if I try to use some ARM microcontroller or something like that, I can use embed and stuff like that, but unfortunately those are a little more complicated. I want to get it off the ground and into a box and on my table as soon as possible. Rapid prototyping, whatever tools you have and you understand them well, use them first. If they don't work, then move on, because if your prototype comes to the market late, it's not going to be useful to anybody, because somebody else has already taken over the market. So in order to get started with Energia and the CC3200 launchpad board, we go to energia.nu/download if you haven't already downloaded the Energia IDE. You just have to go and download it. It's in a zip format for your operating system. Once you've done and unzipped it, it comes out to be something like this. I'm using the 17 version, it's older version obviously. Yeah, and you just double click the exe, and in Windows, in the Mac, the procedure is somewhat similar. It's just an APP file, and you just drag and drop, and it kind of works out. And there you go. This is very similar to the Arduino IDE, and it kind of works for the CC3200. You can go into tools, boards, and in my case I've already selected the launchpad with CC3200 80 megahertz. So that's about the configuration that you need to do for the Energia software. Next, we Google search for ePaper WaveShare Wiki, which is this little thing, and it will take you to the first link will take you to this page, and at the end of this page is the resources segment, which has the link to the code, and it will direct you to a file called 4.3-inch ePaper-code.7zip. Now, a lot of you will say, you're not writing your own code. That's correct, because if there is demo code provided by any kind of manufacturer, you should try to use it because it allows you to get off the ground faster. Now, sorry, when you unzip that file, it will give you two folders. One is the demo folder, wherein there is the Arduino/EPD or ePaper display, and in this folder there are two files: the EPD library, which is the epd.cpp and epd.h, and the Arduino-epd.ino. Now, in your Energia IDE, go to File, Preferences, and check out the sketchbook location, which is going to be, in my case, it's c:/users/interpret/document/energia, and I've already gotten that folder open right here. All right, sorry, not this one. There we go. And in Energia, these are my projects, and there is going to be a folder created called libraries. Now, what we want to do is drag my EPD folder from there into my libraries. So that's about just drag and drop. Perfect. Next, we just don't drag and drop the Arduino/epd.ino. Instead of that, either use Notepad or your favorite editor. In my case, it's Notepad++. I'm going to open this INO file, and it recognizes it to be a normal text file. Hold on a second. I'm going to say it's actually a C++ file. There we go. Now, Control A, copy, and go into the newly Energia window that you've opened up and paste that code flat there. Perfect. All right. File, save. It's going to ask you for a project name, and I'm going to tell it, it's going to be ePaper_demo. It's a new thing I'm creating. Brilliant. Now my software is ready. If I try to compile it, it does not create any problems because the Arduino code and the Arduino libraries are more or less compatible with Energia. So compiling sketch, it's going to take a couple of minutes, and more or less it's going to come up with, okay, I've already done it, compiled, and you're ready to go. Perfect. Now, I need to connect the Launchpad with my 4.3-inch ePaper display in order to just get started. One of the things that you have to take care is that the CC3200 Launchpad has a number of pins that need to be configured before you actually start programming it with Energia. One of the things you have to do is you have to use a jumper wire. In my case, I've used this red wire here to connect J8 with the SOP connector right there. So you can go and Google for Launchpad 3200 pins, and it'll give you this diagram. In addition to that, you have to change these jumpers here. The reason is that these are the TX and RX pins being used by the serial port on the CC3200. So what I want to do is I want to instead of channeling this information from my CC3200 over into an FTDI and via USB to my PC, what I want to do is I want to take that information, jump it 2 pins over here. So you can see TX0 is supposed to be this pin, that's P57, and its RXD0 is supposed to be this one over here, that's pin P55. So it should be this pin and this pin. So correspondingly, now what I've done is I'm using VCC as a 3 volt and surprisingly 3.3 volts is a lot better than 5 volts for this particular display. I don't know why the manufacturer says you can use 5 volts. It creates problems, and people who've had the display refreshing for no reason, try 3.3 volts for the VCC. It works out perfectly. All right, so I am using connecting the white wire from this display. I'm going to give a link to from where you can purchase this display, and it comes with the connector itself. All right, so the TX gets connected to pin 57, or in this case it's P3's 23 number pin, and P55 of the CC3200 over here, or pin number 12 from connector P2. Then WIC signal is connected to this pin, that is pin number 2, and that's been already connected in software. And I'll leave the reset pin dangling, and I've got the VCC and ground connected. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wires, and 1 jumper wire for my programming circuit. And of course the jumpers have been configured so that the hardware UART channels to these pins instead of sending data off into the FTDI pin port. Perfect. All right, the next thing that we need to do, oh, there we go. So it's done compiling. ePaper demo works out perfectly. Now what I need to do is I need to connect this launch pad via USB to the laptop and start programming it. Alright, I have gone ahead and connected my CC3200 launchpad with the display, as well as with using a USB cable to my laptop. Now, apparently in order to program the flash memory, you have to take the UART USB connect jumpers back to the original state, and after that just do a Control U, sorry, there we go, and there we go. Just click on this upload button. It'll try to recompile, and then it will try to upload your code. You can see it's about 6,728 bytes. That's not a very big sketch. And let's wait for it to upload. All right, you can see that the download is complete. I'm going to disconnect the USB cable, and then I'm going to take these serial jumpers. I'm going to put them into the hardware pin mode. There we go. Now, forgive me, I have a very bad cold as I'm taking this video. There we go. And there we go. As you can see, it can draw you can draw graphics, you can display text, you can even display images, you know, but they have to be 2-bit or 4-bit grayscale images. And there is a utility provided by WaveShare for you to do stuff with it. And once you put it back, once the CC3200 puts it back to sleep, the LED goes off and the image is static. Now if I plug out the power, no more power, and the display stays on. Perfect. So that means my CC3200 Energia and ePaper display combo works out of the box. So that's me off the ground. I'll leave the setup here for this video. In the next video, I'll be taking a little more, closer look at the code. I'm going to start writing more code to start displaying more graphics on this thing, or mark out where I'm going to display what, labels, icons, etc. And then in the third part, I'm going to connect it to the internet, get information from the internet like weather services and stuff, and then display it on that. And in the fourth video, we're going to talk about packaging this thing in a 3D printed case. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.